Oh my goodness. So last but not least, we'll hop into our last topic, and it's going to be, are medical bills too high? Right? What do you guys think about this whole medical bills and things and all that kind of stuff? Messiah, you start this off because this was your topic.
Okay, so the reason why I brought this topic up is because I've had plenty of conversations with people. It's mostly Latinos, mostly family members, and I'll tell them, so go get yourself checked. And they're like, you crazy? It's going to cost me this much for this and this much, and all they're going to tell me is I have a headache and take some pills. I'm like, how do you know that's what they're going to tell you? You can't just based on that. But the first thing that always comes out of the mouth is, it's going to cost me this much. I'm like, no, you have insurance. It might cost you copay, but it's going to cost the insurance a lot more money than what it's going to cost you. But so we have a problem in this country where we put a price on health, but understandably, why? Everything is so damn high in this country. Everything. It costs us like double the amount of what it costs us other countries. And like, I give you an example. Actually, I wrote this shit down. So, because I know Check Monster likes to fact check me.
Yeah. So, because I already got a couple arguments to throw at you.
Okay. Yeah.
I just free ball.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. So a hip replacement in this country is going to cost you $29,000.
Damn.
In another country, it's going to cost you $17,000. Well, we're still in the thousands, but think about it. Knee replacement, $28,000. 18 here, 18 in another country. Cesarean, $16,008. Appendectomy, 15 versus 5. Right?
Yeah, you let me know when you're done so I can start.
Okay. Yeah, because I know you're ready for the argument.
Yeah.
But here's a crazy thing that I found. The average CT scan in the US costs $896. 97 in Canada. That's crazy. Like the amount of money that cost. Here's the thing that I was reading that I found it interesting. How Americans pay off the medical debt. 37% of people borrow money from friends and family. 34% increase their credit card debt. 34%. 41% take another job or work more hours. 70% cut spending on clothing, food, and household items. And 59% use up to all their savings.
Okay.
That's just how crazy it is here and how much it costs.
So
the pharmaceutical company here is crazy expensive. So I can see why people say, no, I'm not going there because of this and that.
So you gotta be careful because you just got into a whole different argument with pharmaceutical companies than what you're talking about. I'm just saying, hold on. Not once did you bring up the cost per prescriptions or things like that. You're talking about procedures. Right, all procedures,
hospitals.
Well,
yes.
Okay. So here's a couple things you need to remember. Right. Number one, when you're talking about price differences between what we pay and other countries pay, you're equating our dollar across that other country, right? Well, the dollar goes further in other countries, doesn't it?
No, but no,
does
it does depending because some of these countries is Europe, which is the pound is more than here.
Okay.
We're at zero.
Okay.
Right.
So what you're saying, so because you're talking about the cost, but we're
talking about average cost in like
across the world.
Across certain countries.
But most countries.
First world countries.
So what are considered first world countries? What countries?
Australia, United States.
You got to come up. You got to
Britain.
You have to name
like
what countries it
France.
is cheaper. What countries it's truly cheaper to get these procedures done before you just throw out numbers, right? So you're like I know down in Peru procedures are cheaper, right? I have family members who went down there to get procedures done because it costs less. But that's also anything we go to Peru for is going to be considered to cost less based on what we have in the United States because the dollar ratio and stuff, right? So that's not a completely valid argument on that end, right? Number one.
Okay.
Number two, not everybody's insurance gives them copay. Okay. For a long time, my company's insurance, there was options that I could take and I didn't have a copay option. So that means I'm paying out of pocket until I get to a certain amount. And then once I hit that certain amount, then it starts to change. But it could be, whatever the cost is, but we're talking about a couple $1,000s sometimes before you hit that amount. So copay is not a universal thing for everybody. Mm-hmm. So to say, oh, well, it's only a copay, that's a completely false statement. Okay. Number two. And then number three, not everybody has medical insurance. Not everybody has insurance, which goes back to the argument that this country has been fighting about since Obama took over. Should everybody be afforded insurance as a country, right? You're talking about Canada. Canada doesn't count because they have universal health care. Of course, it's going to be cheaper to do things in Canada. Everybody's insured, though, right? Nobody who lives in that country is worried about that because the country takes care of them that way. The country takes care of them.
Though.
Huh?
Yeah, at a price, though.
Okay,
at a price.
That's fine. But the country takes care of them.
Of course.
Nobody is going to be denied health care if you live in Canada. So, once again...
agree.
Okay, so... But that's the thing. People in this country don't want universal health care. So, of course, then there's going to be an ability for an open market and for people to drive up the prices because there's no regulation, because the country doesn't want a regulation on healthcare. Because we tried that and the country went up in fucking arms and had a fit because of a universal healthcare.
I know, but that's why I think that that's a problem in this country.
That's my point. So I don't think the medical bills are too high then, right? I don't think it's not the medical.
So
I don't think it's their, no.
No?
No, I don't think the medical bills are too high.
So I have the article
what do you classify as a medical bill?
Doctor's visits, hospital
ambulance
visits, ambulance ride, all that stuff. But here's my thing, right?
All that shit adds up.
I know.
That's what I'm saying. So yeah, I have a purpose behind that question. Only because, and I use a little bit of my personal experience. When I was working out a few years ago and I had to go to physical therapy, thankfully I had insurance, but it still cost me to do physical therapy $2,000 to do it, only for a few months. So it's like, okay, I think medical bills are high. There's not just because of the procedure and all the medicine and all that. There's so much that goes involved where people say, I'd rather not go in an ambulance because I don't want to pay it. They'll take a chance driving by themselves. Like I have a lot of friends who say, hey, I need to go to the hospital, and ask me, and I'd be like, yo, I got you. If I got to fly 100 on the highway, I'll do it. They ain't catching me. There's so much that goes involved in this medical bill that insurance can only go so far. And that's what's causing everything. And that's why certain people go to different hospitals, because they know, okay, here is cheaper, or my insurance will cover everything from here versus there. I think, Shaq Monster, you're not seeing the whole thing in the medical bill, is what I'm trying to get at.
Well, this is where I disagree. What I'm trying to get you guys to understand is, does anybody complain about the cost of a pair of Jordans being $150, $200, $300, right?
I do. Fuck yeah.
As a majority, no. As a majority,
okay.
No.
Because
but that's a great point, though.
It's a free market, right? It's an open market, and they're a for-profit organization. Guess what? Hospitals are for-profit. They're not a non-profit organization, okay? Hospitals are there to make money, right? Whether you want to admit that or not, right now, that's the so how are you going to regulate to the hospital that they can't make money?
That's because they're privately
Just because you
owned.
don't like the cost of it, that's irrelevant. I'm sorry if you don't like the cost.
Yeah, but now you put a price on a human life.
So then let's go back to, like I said, we need universal health care where they can be regulated.
I strongly agree with that. I think we should.
But that's my point.
But the rest of the country doesn't believe that, because you know why?
So then you can't complain about the cost of, not you, but in general, people can't complain about the cost of this when they're the ones who don't want it to be regulated by a universal healthcare program.
Well, Sheraton brought up a great point. She says that other countries not regulate. Well, let me go back. You read it because you can see it.
So, but Canada has long waits for urgent surgeries. Also, other countries don't have the regulations that we do.
Yeah.
What regulations is what I would ask. And, long waits on urgent surgeries, that's hard to believe. I think maybe long waits on surgeries that aren't urgent, maybe there's long waits on that. But if it's Canada's not going to let somebody die because, they have a wait for a surgery. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's life threatening, they're taking care of you, right? If it's not life threatening, there might be a wait, right?
Yeah. If you can wait, they'll probably be like, yeah, you can wait. You're not going to die off of this. Yeah.
But that's the world we live in.
I'll give you an example using personal experience or like, my wife's father had his hip replaced because he was paying insurance, right? It didn't cost him anything at all. I mean, obviously he's paying for insurance, but you know how even if you're paying insurance here, you still have something comes out of your pocket. Yeah. Nothing.
Depends, because it depends on the procedures, depends on age. There's a lot of factors that go into it. Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
But that shit would never happen here.
Yeah, it does. My dad had a hip replaced. He had a knee surgeries, and he's not like, believe me, my dad's not, my dad doesn't have money. He's not rich.
He's retired, though, right?
No, he's still working because he helps support his family. He does stuff over the phone and stuff like that, but he's still able to afford these things, but he doesn't have money. Like he's not,
Well, there's also, speaking of that, there's also a big cost. Again, there's a big cost to the country. There's a lot of money that the country spends in healthcare, like Medicare and those things, right? They help out the people like that can't afford it. They help out the elderly because Medicare also helps out the elderly. There's a big portion, there's a big chunk of the budget, national budget, that goes into healthcare. A big chunk.
Yeah. I
just think that the problem here is the companies, the private companies, the sectors that actually price hike the hike up the prices on the costs of shit. But that's what Obama was trying to stop.
I get it. So, but name one industry that's a for-profit company that doesn't do it. What are gas prices right now?
Okay, we're talking about the article. I forgot the name of the company, but they say it's 90%, 96% higher here than what it is in Australia. The same company for a pill. I'm like, how do they get away with it from here? Like, for example, that big scandal with the EpiPen, that company that does the EpiPen, that they hiked up the price so high that it was in the thousands.
Because it's called a free market. You're not paying the same price in Australia for things you're paying in the US. That is the way the countries work.
Yeah, but why is it allowed?
Because we have a free market. Don't you understand that?
I understand that.
So then what do you mean? How is it allowed?
So the government stepping in. Listen, the government stepping in. And
you're allowed to set a price for any product.
Abortions.
Listen,
right?
You're allowed to set a price for a product you create. Yes or no? If I create something, I get to put the value on it. Yes or no?
Of course.
So then that's what you're. Then that's what you're trying to argue against. You're trying to say that people who invent these drugs
it's different, right? It's
allowed.
Different. There's a something that somebody needs, right? Medical pills, all that shit. People need that. Some people live off of those because the body no longer functions properly, so they need those, right? So now that you know that it's out there and there's a big need for it, why would you hike up the price even more? Right. So here's the thing: the government gets involved in making sure you wear a seatbelt. It's against the law if you don't. You can't text and drive. It's against the law.
Well, hold on.
Right now, they just signed the bill.
That's not a federal thing. That's not a federal thing.
But I'm just saying, like, some states' laws, some states, not a federal, but some states.
Okay.
Texas just voted for the abortion after 6 weeks.
Okay.
You right. So if they can regulate that shit and control, why can't they just say, no, you're not putting that pill at $600 a pill?
They can. They choose not to.
But they don't.
Okay. That has no.
Okay.
So hold on. So you can't. Once again, we're not talking about that though. We're saying, are the bills too high? No, they're not, because of the way that the way the infrastructure is created. It's not too high necessarily. If they find that's the fair market value for supply and demand, so right now, then that's what it is.
So okay. So what's the difference between a doctor here and a doctor in Europe? What's the difference?
People's income. Maybe there's regulations. There's a lot of factors you don't know about.
Okay, so they're doing the same procedure. Why does it cost more here than over there?
Does it cost more to be educated over here than over there?
No.
Yeah, that's not true.
Well, they get free education over there.
Okay, so then it costs me. So you're telling me.
Here's another thing.
So you're telling me that it's going to cost me like hundreds and thousands of dollars for 8 years to become a doctor in the U.S. versus with the cost of what it's going to take for me to do it in Europe, but I'm not going to charge you more because I put in more time and money?
No, you put it in the same time. You probably put in more money. Because,
okay, so then I get more money back.
That's another topic to talk about. Education's expensive here. But it's the same procedure. You're going for school for the same thing. So an orthopedic in this country makes $400,000 a year. In another country makes half of that, $200,000. They went to school for the same education.
Okay, and we have people who go to school for the same things, and they don't get paid the same money, right?
But I'm talking about the procedure itself. It's the same. why does it cost more here than over there?
Because maybe
And
the
don't give me the
overhead-
dollar.
maybe
Don't give me the currency.
the
currency
overhead.
shit.
The overhead's more here.
Overhead. Brian, now you just talking shit.
No, I'm not.
Brian.
That's what you don't
now,
realize.
Now he just wants to
no,
argue
it's not that. You guys don't realize there are other factors that do play into it, right?
There's R&D. R&D is a factor.
Yeah, there's
R&D, but even the overhead. What's it cost to operate a hospital here versus the cost to operate a hospital in Europe? Right? There's a lot of factors you're not talking about that could play into it. So if it's going to cost, if our electric bills are higher, right? Our energy bills are higher, right? If all these things, the amount we pay our nurses, you get paid more to be a nurse here than over there. If you get paid to be a doctor, more to be a doctor here than over there. If you talk about all these different things, they start to factor in why those costs start to go up, go up, go up, and go up.
But I'm pretty sure they make more than enough to pay off the bill of that hospital, to run the hospital. Whoever the dean of the hospital is.
That's fine. The president of the
The
hospital.
P&L
And
gets
guess
hit.
what? They're a
Gets done every day.
for-profit company. So why doesn't then Target sell a TV for less money?
They didn't buy enough bulk that we bought.
My point is they get to choose the price that they charge. That's the way the world works. And unless again.
So
you can't blame the medical companies for having an open market and charging whatever they want.
So it should get that open market should be regulated.
That's different. That's fine. But that's not then it's not saying the medical bills are too high. It's saying the government needs to step in and regulate these things. There's a difference there, right?
Yeah.
But
then again, like you were saying earlier about like there should be universal health care. The argument would be, I'm not paying for somebody that's not working so they can get free health care. I'm like, what?
Then don't bitch about your ambulance bill costing that much.
Yeah,
bottom line. So that's why I say it's not too high then, right? There's pros and cons to everything.
It is high, Check Monster. It's high. And to an ambulance to get you from here to the damn hospital, which is right down the street from here, like, well, let's say 5 miles, 6 miles, it's over $1,000.
Okay. How much are they paying those people an hour?
I don't know.
That drive those ambulances and save your lives, right? You don't know, right? How much does that ambulance cost? How much are the supplies in that ambulance that they're going to be using on you?
So you're saying, wait,
the oxygen, right? Or whatever, all the bandages, everything that they're going to be using on you in that hospital. How much does that cost them?
Okay, let's just say it costs them $5,000. No, let's say $20,000 a vehicle a month to maintain the vehicle, pay everybody that's there.
Okay.
Right? I'm pretty sure they make that plus more because they overcharge.
They have to. They're a for-profit company. They have to make more than they're not. That's the way you make money. That's the whole point of business. Is if it costs you this much,
but there's also
charge.
You're too greedy for it too. The person, the company. Now they pushing it. If all they need to do is make $20,000 just to hit profit, they're gonna aim for 60.
That's what a company's supposed to do. Absolutely, that's their job.
And that's
their job is to make money.
There's greed in this country.
That's
but
you're
then
damn
at
right.
what point? So then, at what point do you just say, okay, it's too high? Like, where does the dollar value of the business to human life come into play?
Well, there it does come to play because guess what? You're never going to have happen. If you don't pay your medical bills, what happens to your credit?
You get shot.
No.
And it goes to collections.
Nope.
No?
You cannot. Okay. Your credit report.
Yes, it does.
No, medical bills cannot go on your credit report.
Yes, it does.
No, they can't.
Yes, it does.
No, they can't.
Yes, it does.
I will look it up right now and prove to you.
Look it up. It does. Your medical bill now, it affects your credit score. So you're fucked either way. Before, it didn't. Now it does.
When did that change?
When I moved to Florida.
When was that?
Because in Massachusetts, I didn't pay no hospital.
As of November of 2020, according to this, it says medical bills, and this Experian, which is one of the credit agencies, medical bills will not affect your credit. Oh, as long as you pay them. All right. Well, that I didn't finish the read.
As long as you pay them. See? I know. Trust me. But I came here, I was like, if I don't pay this shit, it's gonna affect my credit. Fuck.
I know,
that's only if they sell your shit off to somebody. That's if they sell it off.
Of course.
Yeah. So
it does
know,
affect you.
Yeah.
If that was the case, Check Monster, there'll be more people going to hospital and saying, fuck you, charge me later.
That's what everybody does. Nobody pays on
No,
the spot.
the hospital now, they make sure you pay before you leave.
No.
Before you even check you in, they're like, you have insurance? No? You have a credit card? Okay, we're going to charge you in this credit card. Okay.
They're required by law.
And then they call
to
you so they
help
can treat you.
people.
They don't just let you walk away
They're
anymore.
required by law to help people in a time of need, regardless of their financial situation.
Yeah. So while you're sitting there, then doing the checking you and all that, there's somebody in the background, an administrator, like make sure he has insurance. This and that. Okay, don't do any other
No,
steps.
they're
until
going
we get
to
his check.
treat you. They just may not give you all the treatment, but they have to treat you.
They're like, oh, I have no insurance. It's okay. The hospital right next door, they'll take care of you. That you just walk out in your robe, showing your butt cheeks. There's really no other hospital.
We're running too long, so we're gonna have to cut this short. Okay,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
So Messiah won this one. Just letting you know.
That's just because you're on his side, but that's okay.
No.
There's no valid argument to say that medical bills are too high when it's a free market.
Yeah, but to what point is too much?
I'm not
That's what
disagreeing with
Obama
you.
was trying to do.
But you know what? I think it's too much that if I want a pair of Jordans, I think it's too much to pay $200 for a pair of sneakers. I think that's too much.
I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. Nobody ever complained about Jordan sneakers, except for the parent. The young kids, yeah.
But I don't think it's fair that I have to pay that much. I don't think it's fair that I'm out there paying God
so
knows
guess what you do?
Gas.
You don't buy them, right?
Yeah.
But if you have to go,
so guess
if you
what
have to go to the hospital, you have to go.
Okay, but that's not where your argument started. Your argument started is that people don't go to the hospital. Guess what? I have the choice not to. Right?
You're right.
I have the
choice not to, but it's a life
go
or
to the
death
doctor
situation.
unless it's life and death. And guess what? If it's life and death, they're required by law to service you, regardless of what your situation is.
And they also tell you to check yourself every year, so make sure that you're not catching anything too late.
There's walk-in clinics. There's other things that if it's not life or death, but if it's life or death, they are required to try to save your life. They cannot deny you those services.
Yep.
Okay.
You're right.
So,
but there's a decision that gets made while you're There's a decision that gets made while you're in that room. They're saying once they find out you have no insurance, they'll be like, that code goes down the window.
Guess what? If I'm brought into on a hospital in a life and death, or I mean an ambulance on a life and death thing, how are they going to find out if I have insurance before they service me? They're going to find out afterwards and kick my ass out, but they're going to have to save my life. If nobody's there with me, how are they going to know what insurance I have?
That's a good point.
So
if you don't have an ID, right? Because if you have an ID, they'll find out if you have it or not.
Yeah, maybe.
If you have an ID, they'll be like, well, nope,
all right.
no insurance,
All right,
surgery outside in the back.
All right, so